Hello, this is Jonathan Green with Atmospheric Endeavors, and today I'm going to show you the new Nokia Maps application, which just announced last week and is finally available today. So here it is loading up. We've got our view of the Earth, and there we go, starting out in lovely Europe. And I'm hoping that the GPS will work for us today. So let me actually just put this down. I'll zoom in. I'll use my index finger, which will be a little more tricky, but a little trickier, but something that will keep the picture more steady. Okay, so as you can see in the lower right there, there's a little red X right there next to the satellite. So we do not have a satellite connection, unfortunately, which is due to my being inside, but I can still browse about and show you how things work here. So if we want, we can start moving around on the map, and then as I move, let me just zoom out a touch. So here, as I move about the map, then this guy here changes to GPS position. So if I press that, now it'll remember where I was most recently, which is right there. I'm now going to zoom in. Okay, and as I zoom in, we'll gradually, there we go, get some more detail. You can see in the upper right here that my phone's data connection is quite active. So it's actually downloading information as we go. Keep on zooming here, take you all the way in. There we go. And I don't think that's going to find a whole lot where I live, because unfortunately the development where my house is I guess still considered new by mapping standards. So I will zoom out a bit. There we go, give you this view. You do have an option, so I'm, by the way, zooming in with the asterisk or star, and I'm zooming out with the pound. You can change from 2D, which is what we're doing here, to 3D, which is like so. And then, you know, if you want to actually like move through the map, I can simply move like this. I'm moving the little stick around, and as I move, you know, I've actually left where the GPS last had contact, which is that little plus sign over on the right side. So at any time I can hit the right soft key, and it'll float back to where we are. Okay. Hopefully at some point during this demo the GPS itself will actually connect. I can see that while I've got power and a good Bluetooth connection, because we're inside, it's just quite tricky. So in 3D mode, I'm pressing 0. I can go back to 2D mode. There we go. I can do a bunch of things from my position here. Let me make sure that that's legible. So from any point on the map, I can then plan a route to this place. And that'll obviously assume it, you know, from where you are on the GPS. I can navigate to that point. I can send this location, save it, or even search nearby. And my guess is that most people who will use the Smart2Go service, or excuse me, Nokia Maps, as it's now being called, will most likely be doing, you know, traveling in new cities rather than using this as their in-car system, because this is probably a rather dangerous little toy to have if you're the driver. If you're the passenger, if you're on a bus or train, you know, certainly would be fine. But if you're driving a car, this is going to be very tricky to do. I mean, there's not a touch screen. You've got to use the stick. You've got to be able to read, you know, small print, and I would strongly advise you don't do that. So here we go. So from this position. Okay, so I can search nearby. So let's say, you know, I'm in a place for the first time. Here we go. We've got kind of a, you know, categorized listing here, and I want to find something to eat. I can then select a restaurant, and then on the map from the points of interest within the service, it's going to search, and it's going to see what it can find for us. These are restaurants, you know, within close proximity to my home. So if I want to go to the Deer Park Tavern, I'm just clicking on it. There we are. It is now zoomed in to it on the map. I've clicked on it with the stick, and I can get details. And then in sort of standard S60 interface here, see in the top, I can then move the stick back and forth. So here I'm on the map. Here are the details. If I click on options, I can then, show it, plan a route there, navigate there. I can send this to somebody. So let's say, my buddy, I want to meet you here for dinner, for a drink. I can send a text message. There we go. And you can see here we've got just the quick hit. We've got the address, and we also have the phone number. So let's get out of this. Okay. The other thing to do here is I can navigate to the location. Right, the GPS is being kind of a pain. I can plan a route here. Okay, so it doesn't know where I am from the GPS, but you can actually punch in an address. I'm just ignoring the phone, so don't worry about that. And then it will then use the maps and get you there. I've noticed though, if you do want actual navigation, unfortunately what happens is you have to pay. So you get some basic services here. You can browse the map, but if you want turn-by-turn directions, or if you want it to talk to you, which is handy if you're, let's say, you plot a route, a walking route, put the phone in your pocket, you've got your Bluetooth headset on to listen for directions. I don't think that's going to work for you unless you cough up some bucks. So the basics here are free, the directories, etc. I can get a more detailed listing of everything as opposed to those categories. Okay, just quickly showing this off. Let's see what's in internet Wi-Fi. That should be interesting. Perfect. So I have no idea what listings, where these listings are coming from, but certainly interesting. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the GPS, and I'm going to turn it back on and hope that in the middle of this demo I've got it sitting at the window and hoping that it's going to work, but it's a little tricky with indoor reception, and actually we're expecting some heavy weather today, so I have a feeling that this little Nokia LD1W, is just not strong enough. So the newer one, in theory, is better. That's the Surf 3 chipset, and this guy just doesn't cut it too well indoors. But anyway, let me show you a little bit more about this application. So if I go into extra services, these are the premiums. So if I'm going to add navigation, just quickly walk through this. I'm going to say purchase, and I want the USA and Canada, or just the USA without Alaska, which probably makes the most sense. Now you do get prompted to buy these things once you get to a certain point. You can see here that it's about $100. 104.16 for 3 years, or 91.14 for 1 year. So obviously there's an incentive there to buy a multi-year license. I don't know if this is transferable between devices, which would be very handy for people who have multiple phones with a single SIM like myself. Be actually interested to know if that is, perhaps even before I purchase. I've already done a look up here about the city guides, and this did actually use GPS to find the closest things for me. This is the city's guide for New York City, and I believe this is around $10. So there we go, $10.40. I could buy a much more detailed New York City guide. If I go into more guides, you can see it's really the let's go to USA. Major cities that are within proximity to where you live, and that's pretty much the deal there. So I really like this application, actually. I think that it looks good. What I can do here, I believe it is, let's see, view. Yeah, I can change the map, so more of a night view. I can, no, the GPS is still not connected. I showed you zoom and in 3D. You can see what categories are by default, on in the view. So let's say, for example, I want to see ATMs. I just turn that on, and now I move back. I actually want to put the map back to the other color. So there are no ATMs presently. Why don't I zoom out? Looks like, let's see, this is the train station near where I live. There we go. It's just, as it got close, it actually sort of attracted on, and there we go. So I can then click and get details about that train station if I want to. This looks like some parking over here. There we go. It is. That's where I used to park for my commute. Okay. Some camping over here, etc., etc. Let's see, what else will I show you? Quickly, landmarks, I believe, are things you can set on the map itself. So as you're browsing, you can add a landmark. I guess I could do that quickly. I'll pick a place that's not a real place, just for a point of exercise. I suppose I should save the location as a landmark. That would be the best way to do it. Or as an image is kind of a cool thing too, but let's do as a landmark. It knows where it is, so I'm going to just say OK. And then I can pick what that is, and I'm just going to say it's a geographical location, and great, there it is. Pardon me. If I also decide I'm going to save it, let's do as an image. Here we go. It's in my gallery, and good old Flickr here has kicked on courtesy of Shozu, so I'll send it there, and we'll keep that in the main post. Additional details here. If the satellite was connected, you could get information about the number of satellites that are in view. Unfortunately, that's just not cooperating for us. Got our landmarks, settings. So the basics are in here. You can determine how much of your card you want to store. So I've got mine to 60%. I could, max that out if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. Actually, I will put it to 80 though, because it's best, given the fact that this relies on both having good coverage from GPS and also having good coverage with cellular data to download things as you go. Perhaps it would be best to have a larger allocation on the card than smaller. Got to use the network when needed. In my case, MediaNet, which is singular. I've turned the roaming warning off. Under routing, I've got it set to car, but if you're walking in a particular city, you could change that. Some obvious things here, either the fastest or the shortest distance, and then these are stay on, stay off, these types of variables, which is fairly standard for GPS. And then as far as measurement, whether you're metric or imperial, how you want to handle the backlight, and whether you want voice guidance, which I've turned on but have yet to see or hear because I just haven't navigated anywhere, as I said earlier. That unfortunately becomes a premium service. So that's pretty much it for the settings. The mapping itself is pretty slick, as noted earlier as well. It really looks very nice, and I think that this is a potentially very useful application, particularly for someone traveling to a new place. Though, as I also noted, I think that the point of interests that are in here could definitely be a little bit better. I had searched for two, fairly substantial places while I was there. I searched for Chase Bank from the Chase Bank parking lot, and it didn't find that as an ATM. I was also at an A&P and Target sort of combo parking lot in a shopping center, and neither location came into the point of interest. And both are substantial for the type of store that they are, as well as for the geographic area that I live in, and was a little surprised that neither one was there. The GPS did know where I was as far as what street and everything, but it had no idea about those stores and did not consider them a service. And I would hope and assume that over time the actual point of interest would be updated. But for now, this is a free application, and certainly seems like a good one. If you do have a GPS, it can be, and one that connects, it can be even better. But if you don't, it's still an excellent pocket mapping system, and something that would be easily managed from quite a few devices, both Symbian as well as Windows Mobile. I'm sure more will come on, and perhaps as things change, I'll do another review. So that's it for now. This is Jonathan Green from Atmospheric Endeavors, and we've just been going through the Nokia Maps application. Have a great day.